You know, there's a saying that love is simple, but whoever said that clearly never had to choose between two people. Because when you find yourself standing at that emotional crossroads, it feels like your heart is being pulled in two different directions, each one promising happiness, each one whispering, "Pick me." And yet, the truth, the hard truth, is this. If you are in love with two people, you should choose the first one. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why, not just from a romantic point of view, but from the perspective of someone who has been there, who has wrestled with that choice, and who has learned, sometimes painfully, the lessons that come with it. It all started for me a few years ago. I was with someone who wasn't just my girlfriend. She was my best friend. We had built something over years of shared memories, inside jokes, and quiet moments that felt more powerful than any grand romantic gesture. She knew me better than anyone else, and I thought I knew her. But then, life threw me a curveball. Someone else walked into my life. She was different, mysterious, full of an energy that lit up every room she walked into. And suddenly, I found myself feeling things I didn't think I was capable of feeling outside of my relationship. That's when the confusion set in. You see, love has this tricky way of disguising itself. The first person, the one you've been with, feels like home. They're the person who has been there through your storms, the one you've built a foundation with. But the second person, they feel like an adventure. An adventure can be intoxicating. It can make you believe that maybe, just maybe, this is the person who's supposed to be your forever. But here's the problem. Excitement fades. The newness wears off. And what's left when that thrill is gone is the true test of whether that connection can survive. I started reading everything I could about love, relationships, and psychology, trying to make sense of what was happening to me. And one thing kept standing out in everything I read. If you can fall in love with someone else while you're already in love, it usually means one of two things. Either you've stopped appreciating the person you have, or you've started chasing the high of novelty. And I'll be honest, in my case, it was both. The truth is, the second person didn't just magically show up. She appeared in my life because there were small cracks forming in my first relationship, cracks I didn't see, or maybe didn't want to see. But here's where it gets interesting. Those cracks weren't from a lack of love. They were from a lack of attention. Relationships don't stay strong on their own. They require constant nurturing. And sometimes, instead of fixing what's broken, we get distracted by something new, thinking it will solve the problem. But in reality, it just makes us forget to take care of what we already have. I had to ask myself the hard questions. Was I really falling in love with this second person? Or was I just falling in love with the way she made me feel about myself? Was she really more compatible with me? Or was she just reflecting back the version of me I wanted to see? And perhaps the biggest question of all, was I willing to throw away years of shared history, trust, and commitment for something that might not even last? It was during this time that I realized something powerful. The reason you choose the first person is because love is not about constant fireworks. It's about who stays with you when the fireworks fade. It's about the person who has seen you at your lowest and didn't walk away. It's about the bond you've built through time, not the thrill of someone new. The second person might feel exciting, but excitement is temporary. Depth is not. But let's talk about the psychology behind this, because I think this is where most people get it wrong. Human beings are wired for novelty. Our brains release dopamine when we experience something new. That's why meeting someone for the first time can feel so intoxicating. It's not necessarily because they're better for you. It's because your brain is lighting up like a Christmas tree at the excitement of something different. The danger is, we confuse this chemical high for real love. Real love is not a high. It's a steady flame that keeps burning even when the wind tries to blow it out. And here's something else I learned. Relationships go through phases. The honeymoon phase with your first partner eventually settles into a deeper, calmer kind of love. That's normal. But if you don't understand this, you'll start thinking something is wrong. You'll crave the high again, and that's when the second person looks so tempting. But it's not that your first love isn't enough, it's that you've stopped feeding it. The right choice is to put that energy back into your first relationship and watch it bloom again. Of course, I'm not here to say you should always choose the first person no matter what. If your first relationship is toxic, abusive, or fundamentally incompatible, staying would be a mistake. Love should not be a prison. But if your first relationship is healthy and built on mutual respect, then walking away because you're chasing a thrill is almost always something you'll regret. I remember sitting alone one night, thinking about all the little moments I'd had with my first love, the way she laughed at my worst jokes, the way she looked at me when she thought I wasn't paying attention, the way she'd squeeze my hand in a crowded room, as if to say, "I'm here, we're in this together." And I realized, the second person didn't know those parts of me. She knew the exciting version of me, the version I put on when I'm trying to impress someone. But she didn't know the quiet moments. She didn't know the struggles we'd overcome as a couple. She didn't know the history that had shaped me. And that's when I knew I couldn't walk away from that kind of love. In the end, I chose the first person. And yes, it was hard. Saying goodbye to the second person was painful, but I knew it was the right thing to do. And over time, as I invested back into my first relationship, I saw it grow stronger than it had ever been. The cracks were repaired, not because someone else came along to fill them, but because I chose to fill them myself. If you're watching this and you're in that place where your heart feels torn, I want you to hear me. The second person might feel like they're the one, but if your first relationship is good and healthy, what you're really feeling is the rush of something new. That's not love, that's infatuation. Love is not about who makes your heart race the fastest. It's about who makes your heart feel at home. So, if you're in love with two people, choose the first one, because if the second one were truly right for you, you never would have fallen for the first one so deeply in the first place. And if you nurture that love, it can become something so much greater than any passing thrill. In the end, it's not about finding someone who makes every day feel like a movie. It's about finding someone who makes every day worth living, even when it's not perfect. And that, my friends, is why the first love, the one that's been tested by time, that's weathered storms, and that still stands strong, is the one worth choosing.